beautiful country of Brazil, Sao Paulo, Brazil. And I wanted to address, it's really basically the biggest story going on right now on social media, at least for brown and black folk, which is the Ashlee Janae killing that took place in Zanzibar in Tanzania last week. And it's a very sad story, but I wanted to talk about it more from the perspective of black women because I feel like these stories get hijacked and turned into something else. And it's hard to decipher what the real message is for us, I think, as sisters, because Ashlee Janae was a sister and she was victimized and scammed and the whole nine, and basically led to her demise. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with maybe bad upbringing. A lot of the young girls really think that the highest level of achievement is to be able to get some man, that they feel like they have under their control to pay for them, to wine and dine them, to give them luxury, to give them what they call a soft life. And they believe that if a man is doing that for them, then automatically that's a good man. And since we know that black men are rarely going to actually do that for other black women, a lot of times it ends up falling into a thing of, oh, the white man is going to do that for me. A Caucasian man will do that for me if I can get one. And so Ashley got one. She got the white man, the coveted white man, right? And supposedly they were in a relationship for about a year and a half before this tragic incident happened. So let's go back a little bit and talk about what went down because I have dug in a little deeper with some of the YouTubes I've been checking out. Of people who have on the ground information in Zanzibar about what really went down. And so one thing we know is that what's being told in the main media resources and the main media sources that we're hearing is not really necessarily what happened, right? So Ashlee Janae, just to recap, young social media influencer. I think she was really big on TikTok. I had never heard of her because, I'm older. I'm just not up on all of the luxury, soft life YouTubers like that. But young, beautiful girl. She was a video vixen, so in a lot of music videos. Michelle Montano, from Trinidad, soca musician. She seemed to know a lot of celebrities. She was a video vixen, okay? She knew a lot of the celebrities, and it seemed like a lot of them had a lot of respect and love for her. I think she was good friends with Joe Budden. She was, one of them it girls. She was out there getting it. She was based in Miami, supposedly. Um, as I listened to Joe Budden speak on her, it did seem like she did keep a job though, like she was still working. So a lot of these influencers, they're portraying these lifestyles, these luxury lifestyles. But at the end of the day, it sounded like she was a high-end server hostess at, like, I guess, a restaurant. So the girl worked. You know what I mean? People be thinking folks is just freed up to go travel the world and do all this stuff just based upon their social media accounts. No, this girl was working still. And then she had all those connections and was doing the video work and was doing, a lot of things. There have been questions about whether she was doing some of the high-end escorting, and you don't want to, say those things about people that are passed on without really knowing, but that has started to circulate as a possibility. And we know how it goes down, especially with the women that are positioning themselves to be in these music videos with these rappers and doing all this stuff, right? And in this world where they're around money and influence. And so this young lady was doing a lot of things. Apparently, she had started dating Caucasian man Joe McCann, who is a big crypto tech guy, some kind of crypto investor guy, some scammy stuff going with crypto, some business called Asymmetric that apparently started to go belly up last year and lost a whole lot of millions of dollars in that whole crypto scheme. I think we all know how scammy that stuff is. And so she'd been dating this guy for a while. And apparently, he had wanted to take her on a trip to Zanzibar, beautiful Zanzibar, the place that we all have wanted to go in Tanzania. God, I can't even do nothing over here because of these annoying dogs. But so Let me move out of the way. But yeah. So he said he was going to take her for her birthday. They get over there. Something goes down while they're there. I mean, he even had proposed to this girl while they were out there. So here he is proposing marriage with this young black girl, literally about 20 years younger than him, literally. And so she's like, yeah. It looked all happy. It looked all beautiful. She posted the pictures on social media. Um, let's see, the day of the engagement proposal, and literally went silent. Nobody heard from her after that. I don't think I think that was the 5th of April. Nobody really heard nothing from her after that. Then come up with a story that is just you just cannot imagine how weird this story has been. Basically, he said he found her somewhere around the 8th or so in her room, and something had happened to her, unconscious. And mind you, he didn't even call her parents. It took him 11 hours to call her parents. But he said something happened to her. She was in the hospital. And then he just went silent, except that he was on Twitter, still tweeting about a whole bunch of bullshit around crypto and stuff. Meanwhile, apparently this girl, within 2 days of her so-called being found in her room, um, had been pronounced dead at the hospital 2 days later. Okay, and then the people from the actual hotel had to call her family and tell them what happened. Okay, and it just has been no, these people have not heard from this man, Joe McCann. I mean, it was like he literally took her out there just to do what it is he did. Now, mind you, they said she hung herself from a wardrobe. Now, y'all know, I don't know who the hell, what black person is going around creating nooses for themselves and hanging themselves. And then what he said she did was just an implausibility and an impossibility. It's just, now, mind you, they had some terrible argument, I guess, in the course of the the whole event and the trip, where something had happened and the hotel had to separate them, so they were arguing bad. And so some of the underground, on the ground information that I have gotten from people who are in Zanzibar who work around the hotel, that I've gotten through some other social media folks, is that um, there was something going on with him. He had like a lot of women that he knew around Zanzibar, that he was a frequenter of that place, and that May had even been friends with the owner of the hotel. Okay, so he was back and forth, that he knew a lot of people and was respected and had money and would come and spend money. And so apparently he was trying to leave out at night, they said, to go see other women. Doesn't really add up to me, especially after you done did this whole social media big marriage proposal and all that. But people are so fake, we don't know what's going on. So apparently he was trying to go see women, and she was popping off about that. And then supposedly somebody was flirting with her, and he got upset about that and went off, and it just cascaded a bunch of craziness. But if you really look at it in peep game, he went to somewhere he was familiar with, took her with him to a very, very corrupt African country, to the most corrupt part of the country, Zanzibar, where all you got to do is give these people a couple $100, and you can have them bury bodies for you. I mean, the respect for female life, the respect for anything other than the U.S. dollar and cash money is so low. You know what I mean? That you could get away with anything in these places. So he takes her out somewhere that he knows well, where he knows people. He might even know the owner, and he probably just goes and lives out some weird, sick, racist fantasy of his. And we don't know to how many levels that goes to. You know, we really don't know, because at the end of the day, it just seemed like he planned to take her there and do all of this. It just feels like that. Why would you go all the way across the globe, take this young woman with you, and then not, you know what I'm saying, do this whole big media thing, and this fiance, we're getting married, all of that, and then the same day or the next day, out, snuff her light out? So, it's a lot of questionable stuff going on with this case, and it keeps changing. Supposedly, they have him in custody. Supposedly, he is being held for questioning. They have his passport, so he's not able to travel. But again, you know how easy it is to pay people off in Africa. So the likelihood that any of this is happening for anything other than for show is not very high. And it just goes to show you, I think about how much so many women and millions of women now are so influenced by, kind of Shira Seven's, platform, and ideals and some of the things that a lot of the women are proposing for black women to go out and get their money and get you a man who take care of you and do this and do that. And this girl, I mean, she was Prada, Chanel, all down. She had her money coming in from whatever she was doing, social media and the videos and all the different things. And then she had this wealthy man that was so-called taking care of her, keeping her, kept. And look what happened to her. So it's like, it just goes to show you that all this lifestyle that's being promoted for black women is really to mostly the detriment of us, because it's continuing to make it look like it's a safe thing for black women to go out and find any kind of man. I don't care if they're black, white, I don't care what kind of man it is. We're trying to pretend like it's safe for us to go out and be looping ourselves in with men, knowing how dangerous they have always been, okay? And that we are the number one targets on this planet for them. We always have been. This is nothing new, especially black men. And the saddest thing about this is that the brothers are using it as a, oh, we told you so. Oh, well, rest in preference. Just because she has made comments on her social media about, some of the discrepancies and the BS that the brothers have been coming with over the years, because they have shown us a great deal of disdain and hatred. They do it on social media, they do it everywhere. And then when black women try to go out and find other options for themselves, then they want to dog us out about that too. So it's no winning with them. And so because she has brought up some of that discrepancies in her social media, they say she hated black men. So it's fine if she's been killed. It's fine because she's going to rest in preference now. So this is the kind of sick mentality we're dealing with. We black people are gone, okay? Gone, mostly. And the saddest part is that I just keep seeing this soft life bullshit being promoted to women as if it's a real practicality to go and be basing your life off of a dependency on finding a man to take care of you when you're a full grown ass person, woman with capacity to do whatever the hell you need to do for yourself. Okay, for yourself. This is not time to be playing Russian roulette with men. It just isn't time for that. And I just keep it so sad that this is where we're at in society. But it has gotten to intense proportions. And we're hearing about black women getting snuffed every day. Oh yeah, I mean, the moment I saw it, I knew it was ritualistic too. But there's layers, because I feel like he took her out there knowing what he was going to do. And maybe it was because he needed to move up in the HISIS, move up in the levels of the things he was doing, because we know he's in that money world. You know what I mean? He's in that big money world. Supposedly was or is very wealthy. So we know that every time they need to cross into next levels of what they're doing, yeah, they do. They take people out. And there's nothing better than a black woman for them, for the energy. And, they have something that we call loosh, where it's like the energy that is released um, when you have generated all this emotional and negative emotional energy. And so for the days up to her killing, it sounds like they was doing a lot of looshing. You know what I mean? He's taking her through all of the emotions, the highest of heights, the lowest of lows. And then what happens? She ends up with some kind of noose around her neck. Okay, so this is how they do it. This is how they vamp on us. This is how they steal our energy. This is how they use our energy to elevate themselves. And it ain't just no white guys. It's not just white people. And black women are the most targeted out of everybody. So it's for me, we're not safe. We have no business out here taking risks with men at this point in the game. Period. And it's like, I'm just so grateful I've been able to teach my young daughter, who is a cute, sweet, young woman, to make sure she's taking care of her stuff. Don't worry about these dudes, because I have yet to see it in my almost 50 years of living, yet to see them do right by us. There are a few exceptions, and I know they're out there. I have not seen them myself, but I know they're out there. I've heard about them. But at the end of the day, I have not seen any men really do right. But and that's just me personally. It's I can't think of too many. But, I know that there are some decent ones out here, and those women are lucky women if they have snagged those. But to be out here playing Russian roulette right now, when the sentiment, especially towards us, is especially in the ground, and our lives are not being respected. What I mean? Our humanity is not being respected on the level that it should be. And it's just, it's crazy. And to hear our likeness, black men saying that this girl deserved her life taken just because she didn't date them, basically, is just atrocious. This is the level of mental horror that we're dealing with. These people are sick. They're sick. It's a lot of sickness on this planet. So, though I live my life in a very kind of upful, happy kind of way on a day to day basis, the underlying reality is that there's a lot of weird stuff going on. And black women need to make sure that they are safe and that they are securing themselves. Stop worrying about these dudes. They don't like you like that. Okay? It's just like it is what it is. If you find a decent one and you're able to vet them on an extreme level, then yeah, maybe so. But other than that, most of them, they're not into you like that. They want our energy. They want to loosh us. They want to steal our, the vibration that we carry. They don't want us. And that's just mostly what I have seen. And it just is what it is. So I just hope that sisters will wake up. Wake up. Stop falling for this. Everybody's still falling for this. Sprinkle, sprinkle, and all that. I don't have no hate for the work that she does. But girl, you putting these women out here, on the chopping, like you really got us out here on the auction block, really. Trying to have women thinking that that is going to be the way that they solve all their issues is by finding some guy to take care of them, finding some white man or whoever to pay for their lives. Pay for your own life. We are capable. We are more than capable. I don't know no sisters that's raggedy out here. We got that shit. So yeah, it's nice to have company and stuff, but to take a chance and bring in a man into your cipher in this day and time when we see the rates at which they are taking us out, to me is just crazy. I have male friends. I live in Brazil. I do have male friends here. But to have these men where they can access you in your household, taking you out the country, moving around, doing all these things, making yourself vulnerable to them in this time, when you got the red pills and the type of sentiment that is out there for us, not to mention this whole sad situation with Ashley, she gonna be out in one of the most corrupt countries in Africa. I've been known that. Tanzania, they've always talked about how corrupt it is there. And she's on Zanzibar, the little small island vibes. So even more susceptibility to corruption. And I've spent time, a lot of time in Africa. So I know how it goes down. And it's like, y'all, come on, man. You got to wake up. You got to wake up. And so I just pray. That's what I pray. And that's what I think black women need to take from this. We don't have no allies. We don't have no protection. And the reality is, that sister, if she hadn't been, if she had really felt protected and loved and adored by her own men, she wouldn't have been running off with that guy. We don't be doing that. We don't really want to do that like that. But it's just a desperation of wanting somebody to take care of you when you already take care of yourself. It just don't make no sense. And that's why we know it's a fake thing. They just want to be able to be on social media looking like they're doing something. It's not real. We don't need this. And you do not have the luxury to sit up and be making yourself vulnerable in these situations with men no more. Period. And you never did. And that's the reality. We never did. They've always been very antagonistic towards us for whatever weird ass reason. And so, for whatever reason, especially black women, we've always dealt with this antagonism and this energy, this evil that's lurking around us. Okay? Does this mean I hate men? No, I got brother friends. I got brothers that I have love for. Would I ever bring them into my intimate space, in my bed, in my life? Want to be with them? Hell no. No, 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 no. And so we have to wake up. You have to know how to keep these people in your realm and how to create boundaries around your life. And at the end of the day, like I said, sister was getting her paper. I don't know if she was doing the sex work too. That is very possible just because of the life that she was into. But at the end of the day, whatever it is, you got to protect yourself, man. These people is not protecting you. I don't care what color, hue, what crayon color they are. They are not going to protect you. And again, we know there are exceptions to every rule and there are unicorns out here. We know that. But imagine you trying to find a good man, a unicorn man, in a sea of just literal sharks. It's not even worth it at this point. You can conserve your energy for figuring out ways to, you know what I'm saying, take care of yourself on a high level. Give yourself that soft life that you've been saying you want so bad. You know, and I just have to say this from my heart because I've been watching this stuff with this system. I'm like, girl, you was already living it. You already were getting it for yourself. Why go and put yourself out here and sacrifice yourself like this just to be somebody's arm candy for a little while and for him to literally snuff and discard you after that? And I'm pretty sure that was probably, besides the ritualistic aspect of it, that is pretty obvious. Um, it was probably like a fantasy of his. Maybe he'd never done it before, you know, something he'd always wanted to do, a bucket list item to kill a black woman. Y'all, these are the levels of entities we're dealing with on this planet right now. It just is what it is. This is it. And the main target and focus is the original woman. So, you know, I that's why I don't care about nobody coming on my videos. I don't want to talk to nobody else. I do not care. Who I want to connect with is black women. I want to see more of us wake the hell up. Okay, it's time. I had to wake up. You know, I had to wake up. I was running around fawning over men for a long time. They don't deserve that. Okay, they don't deserve that. Most of them are dealing with, you know, fallen angel energy. These are demonic entities working through them. Well, I mean, from the information that has come out, yes, retired and rooted. Absolutely agree with you. They think they know. 1975. Yeah, this is a man who, again, he's in the crypto scam world, all the pyramid scheming, all that scheming. And so apparently he had taken a major hit financially. You know, one of his, you know, scheme fell apart. And so they're talking about, I've heard 10 million losses, I've heard 100 million in losses. A lot of money has been somehow lost with this guy. And so, you know, they're all in a brotherhood. When these people start making or getting to a certain threshold of wealth, they kind of end up having to be involved in certain fraternal orders and different things. And so we don't know if it was Masonic or what, but some kind of order he was probably in. Nobody knows the exact details. I'm sure it'll come out. But, you know, the likelihood is maybe he was trying to get his stuff back, get his money back. You know, maybe there was certain energetic looshing that he had to do in order to leap again back into that next level of where he thought he was headed, you know, before he started taking them financial hits. This is what happens. This is what happens with, you know, people in the entertainment industry, the model world, all of these people, man, they do certain things. They're willing to compromise themselves in certain ways so that they can have, you know, what they think they deserve, you know, to have the wealth, to have the influence, to have the luxury lifestyle so they can floss on camera. Now, I don't think he was nobody who was big on no Instagram and flossing like that, but he was in that world. He's in that money world. Yeah, major condolences. Major condolences. What a nightmare. I've seen the family give a talk on, I believe it was TMZ. Very off-putting, very strange. I didn't know how to take it. Mom is obviously married to a Caucasian man. Dad and his wife were there. Total opposite. I mean, he's got the sister with the locks. Very strange setup. Mom was very numb. She seemed like totally out of body. I felt so sad for her. And dad, everybody looked numb. Okay, the only person who had any animation at all was dad's, I guess, newer wife. So everybody looked really numb. The energy was just really off. And I just keep seeing them sitting on the couch talking. And I'm like, man, why is there nobody in Tanzania? You know what I mean? Trying to advocate for the proper investigation. Like, I couldn't even imagine going through something like this. But with my daughter, my God, everything would have, I don't give a damn. We're going to find the money and we're going to be out there that same day or the next day. You know, so it just ain't no way. I'm going to be all in that mix. You're not about to brush this under the rug and treat it like, oh, well, because, you know, they're trying to say she sued herself. She did it to herself. Can you imagine? How in the world can someone be so upset about something for a black woman to go and do something like that? That's unheard of. We don't do that. We just don't have no background of doing that in that way. By hanging? Yeah, not happening. Okay? It looks like, and then what they said was asphyxiation and strangulation is what they said was the cause of death. So that's already letting you know right there. It sounds like somebody put hands on her. Okay? And it takes a while to do that to someone. They don't die right away. So it sounded like they were in there tussling, and one of the butlers knows his sister, who has been on some social media platforms. And so he was the one, I believe, that discovered her in the room at a point, like potentially like just kind of struggling, but he didn't go in to help her. He seen her hung up on something and struggling, but he didn't go in to help her because he probably didn't want to get framed for it or make it look like he had anything to do with it. So he ran off to get help. By the time they get back to her, supposedly she's unconscious, still alive though, but unconscious. Okay, so there's something was going on there. There's a cover up going on here because she was still alive. They took her to one hospital, they took her to another hospital. She was alive. They were treating her, treating her, treating her. She might have had brain damage, but she was still with us. And then all of a sudden, she's gone. Hola, bonjour. All of a sudden, she's gone. So a lot was going on, and it was a lot of people missing the mark, not rushing to her aid. There was things going on. It didn't seem like people were really trying to make sure she lived. And you got to think, if she went through a whole lot of shit with this man, he had every reason in the world to make sure that the job got finished. And that's just the reality of it. So we're talking about as deep and dark and nasty as it gets. Okay, this is the worst thing I've heard of in a long time. And it's a lot of things happening to us on a regular basis. So, yeah, what I would say, sisters, please focus. We have to focus now. I mean, you want to talk about the world is at war. Yeah, and a lot of energies are at war with us, and I'm grateful for my own spiritual discernment that I have had to grow over the years that I didn't usually used to have on the same level because it is helping to keep me and my family safe at this time. And you need to be really focused on it right now. Okay, these are there. It's too many people obsessed with our energy and want to loosh off of us. They want to use the energy. They don't care about us. They want the actual, the God energy that we walk with. Okay, that's the issue here. It's the original goddess energy. Everybody is looshing off of us. Our own likeness, the male version, Lucian, the white folk, everybody. They want our energy. So, and it just has always been that way. Y'all know that. Sometimes you can't go somewhere without everybody just being obsessed over you for no reason. It's like, why? I'm just here. Why is everybody going crazy? But we know why. Because they know who we are. And so we have to be extra, extra careful. And I just pray that, more of us will really, really start just minding our business. Like, keep to yourself. Like, out here trying to date on dating apps, risking. I don't even want to go nowhere with no man I don't know. Or even I don't even like being around them in general mostly. Because there's always that underlying sense of I'm not fully safe here with them. Okay? Like, you really have to be careful in this day and time because that demonic spirit is jumping from person to person and taking control. And when it takes control, there are no boundaries, don't nobody, because it's taking control. So they don't have no thought about the illegalities, the shame, or any of the things that will come from their actions. They are just controlled. And because the men have always just been more susceptible to that type of spirit, it's like it's really popping off now. Because they don't have to raise kids. They don't have to do some of the things that we do. So their need and desire to do right and be good is not as high. And so you will see them being more susceptible to a lot of crazy stuff and a lot of energies and frequencies. So you have to be careful with them around you. It's all there is to it. And that would have been my one wish for her, that she had discerned, because this was not her first go around with him on some weird domestic stuff. I'm sure she saw the signs. People were telling her in her comments, hey, sis, this guy's going to, probably people were having flashes of it. They said, no, this guy is probably going to kill you if you go out there with him. Folks was trying to warn her. People were telling her what they were seeing. She was getting all kinds of red flags and did not listen because we'd be so ready. And those who are on social media influencers and stuff, they be so ready to just do it for the gram. Make sure they got all the images, all the video, all the things for social media, for TikTok. Because they know, at the end of the day, that's going to result in boosting their whole brand and everything they're doing. But at what cost? At what cost? And so I don't really think it's worth it. I think sisters should focus inward, um, build your life up, and team up with other women. I mean, that is where the value is. Yes, we can have males that we collab with and everything, but I would be very, 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 very gingerly in looping in my energy in any intimate way with a man, because that brings him in too close and it puts you in too much risk at this time. If you already have some around you that's tried and true, good on you. That's a blessing. But right now, trying to open yourself up and get to know ones that you can't even vet these people. They literally will be good to you for years and then switch up and look up and you're gone. Look at the sister in South Florida, the Haitian sister, the mayor, the vice mayor. I think her last name, Nancy, I believe, Metayer, Haitian sister. Gone. A man she had been with for what, 5 years married to, takes her out in a flurry, you know what I'm saying, of just insanity. And she just gone. She was all about the people, helping people, doing good by folks, supposedly a great human. Gone, and we don't even know why. Still no understanding of why. If that don't tell you that it's some kind of possession that these beings are under, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's obvious that they are open to some kind of spiritual forces that are, you know what I mean, very much antagonistic and against us as black women. If that don't, and the saddest part is that everyone want to brush that under the rug. The brothers don't want to talk about that. They didn't have nothing to say when that happened. There was a few YouTubers that brought it up and talked about it because it's a sad situation. The Nancy Metayer, or the sister, the vice mayor down in Florida, they didn't want to talk about that, but they want to talk about this Ashlee Janae thing. Oh, see what happens when y'all go out and get with white men and all this extra shit. But here, if we really are realistic about it, we know that by far, it's brothers that look just like us. It's our own men that have been taking us out in enormous proportions. And I live in Brazil. Hola. Tudo bem? Tudo bom dia. Nice sister that lives in my business. She works there. But I try to greet my folks. But literally, here in Brazil, same issue. Just last week we had, because this black community is just like the one in the U.S. I mean, we're on the fringe of things more so out here, the brothers and sisters, because of the vast, financial discrepancy between what the white folk have here and the black folk. So the black folk really be going through it out here in Brazil. But just recently, I heard about up in Bahia, where I used to live. This sister was killed by her neighbor, some man that she had in proximity to her who was obsessed with her because she was a beautiful goddess with big bushy afro and just gorgeous, beautiful sister. And the femicide rate is so high in Brazil, especially around women that look like us, it will knock your socks off, okay? This is the most friendliest, coolest country in the world. But if you're a black woman dealing around a lot of black men, you better watch your back, okay? Because they are getting taken out like crazy out here. It's insane. Like, the femicide rate all over the globe is so high, especially to black and brown women. It's off the charts. You guys, it's off the charts. That's why I said this ain't time for sprinkle. Just cut the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, cut it out. It's not time for that right now. It's time to be safe, to learn self-defense. If you're in the U.S., to have your guns, whatever protection you need to have, and to understand the level of targeting that is taking place, particularly for you right now, with their desire to basically steal all of your ashe and energy, and use it for whatever purpose they want to use it for. This is all ritual. The whole everything that's happening has been ritual. And when it comes to us, it's ritual. Okay, it's good because that's what it is. So, and I knew from the minute I heard about this that this man knew exactly what he was doing. He took her somewhere he knew he thought he could get away with it. And he probably will still get away with it. I'm pretty sure anything that they're doing right now is all for looks and for the camera. And then they'll brush it under the rug. And there's a high likelihood that sister's death there will be no justice there because he's somewhere where shit, 100 couple, you ain't even got to pay nothing really. In a lot of parts of Africa, honey, you could dash someone, a little 150 USD and get away with all kinds of crazy ass shit. It don't take much. You know what I'm saying? It does not take much. This is people don't understand how stuff really. Does that mean there's nobody with morality or anything like that out there? Of course not. But just saying corruption is inbred into the societies because of how much, colonization, how much Europeans coming into those countries and pillaging and robbing all of those nations has caused them to, kind of come up with other ways to get money from the West, right? Because all these countries are being pillaged by Europe and these white nations, right? And so, all of their resources stripped, taken out, utilized, and then sold back to them in the form of product. Like the level of insanity that a lot of the African countries are undergoing and dealing with because of these Western nations is unbelievable. So there is a level of desperation, and there's also a level of doing what they got to do to survive. And so they are very susceptible to bribery and all of these kind of things in a lot of those countries. So no excuse for nothing. The fact of the matter is, I really do wonder if this sister, if there will be any justice around her death. But yeah, very sad stuff. Very, very. And yeah, that's it. That's my message for sisters. Protect yourself, focus on yourself, build with other women, build with safe men that you know. The safest men are usually ones that's already in long term relationships with somebody else. Those are the safest men, right? Build with safe people, because it's too much Russian roulette out here trying to date, trying to meet people, thinking it's going to be good if you know them for a few years. It should be safe and all this. None of that matters right now. You know what I mean? That has not been shown to be any kind of truth. What has been shown to be true is that the men in particular are very, very susceptible to spiritual possession. That's causing them to do all kinds of stuff. Why don't we hear to protect black women during this case? I don't know what you mean. That's what because we know that y'all aren't going to protect nobody. So I mean, what I am proposing is that black women get very, very serious about protecting themselves, which means disengaging from a whole lot of interaction with males. I mean, that is the safest thing for us right now. Yeah, I don't know. I don't laugh at nothing. None of it's funny to me. It's not funny when people are, vampires, spiritual vampires, and trying to use our energy and then taking us out for, all kinds of ritualistic. That's not funny. That's craziness. So yeah, for me, I propose that women come up off of this looking for men to do for them and focus on themselves, and building up and building in their communities with other women and just cut the crap. Like this is not time to be out here looking for sugar daddies and all this extra shit, because there's a big price that you pay a lot of times in dealing with these men. So, I would just suggest that y'all focus on your legacy, building with your children if you have children. That's what I do. It's me and my kids now, and we focus in and we trying to put something together, have our own property, our own land, our own little village that we build, which will be mostly with women and children and people that are vetted. I'm building like that. But all of this running around looking for husbands and all this stupid shit, them days, they never really were popping. There was always a big risk factor, but it's sure not now. It's certainly not now. This is not time for that. I mean, if we're really serious about our own self-preservation and our own ability to sustain into the future, you will be looking in totally different directions than at men and wanting anything from men right now, outside of men that you can hire to help you with different things. You know what I mean? That's it. So, I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, I got love for our brothers and everything. There are some good ones out there. Like I said, the safest men for you are the ones that's already taken and are focused somewhere else that you can hire for things or that you can build with in different ways, that are non-relationship based. Those are the safest men. And those are usually older men who have been in long-term relationships, right? Other than that, no, this is not good. And it don't have nothing to do with race. And don't let these brothers gaslight you into thinking this is just a racial thing, because it's been 3 women that's been, that we know of, that's been taken out in the last whatever year by white men that they thought they were dating, right? do not do not fall for the gaslighting, because that's what it is. We already know what it is. We know the truth. The truth is that usually we're taken out by people who look like us, and that is the truth. And we're not about to sit up in here and play little stupid mind games, because that's what it's always, somebody trying to get in our head and manipulate our thoughts. We know what's happening out here. And so, though this is a very unfortunate circumstance, and yes, Caucasian man did what he did, we know what's really going on. Okay, so watch yourself with these relationships. That's all I gotta say. Like, yo, it's not. It ain't time for that. It's not time for that. So, does anyone have any questions or anything you want to build on before I come up off of this? I hope you got something out of this video, because I'm telling you, I done been screaming this from the rooftop, and it took me a while to get it too. I was mammied out and doing all the bullshit and running around praying and hoping and thinking and wanting and all of this, and thinking it was all about finding that right religion. Listen, it's not about that right now. This spiritual war is serious, okay? It's on a whole nother level, and y'all are not safe. I'm telling you. If you're moving reckless, if you're moving out here, if you're still, black male worshiping and male worshiping and worried about some man every second of the day, you're going to come up with some real serious problems. And I think that Ashlee is a sad example of this. Focus on yourself. Focus on building with your community and the women around you and the other mothers and the other women around you. Focus on being, if you don't have kids, being an auntie to children, helping the women around you. That is where you focus in. That's why I love in Kenya. I think it's in Kenya they have that all women's village there. They don't let men in there like that. There might be some male guards or something on the perimeter, but that's where things are going, y'all. It's not about hatred for men. It's about protection. We have to protect ourselves. They are not showing themselves to be safe. They are not showing themselves to be safe. I don't care what color they are. Okay. Okay. Yes, that's really great. So anyway, yeah, that we're not safe with them, and so this is something that's very important. And look at this. They're constantly coming on threatening, trolling. You know what I mean? They don't even know who they even talking to or what I'm even dealing with all the way. But it's just a constant threat or some kind of spiritual battle that has to come about when these beings come around. So yeah, just be very, very careful, okay, ladies? And this is definitely a message just for y'all. I don't care about no men coming on this channel at all. I really don't. It's a message just for us. So I pray that everybody, finds peace right now. And rest in peace to the young sister, man. And rest in peace to Nancy, too, out in all the women. It's been so many killings recently that I've been having to process of black women, mainly by, black men. Just so many horrible killings, because they're obsessed with the woman, or they want to control the woman, or they want to discard the woman. They're done with her. I mean, this is how they look at us, like, trash. You know what I mean? Something that can be discarded, basically. So, I mean, I don't know. Do you really want to be out here trying to figure out if you can find a decent one who doesn't look at you like that? Are you taking that risk right now, is what I want to know. I don't know. So, it's something to think about, right? But, yeah, peace and love. I hope everyone has a beautiful Thursday. I know I'm about to get it in, get some more exercise in, and get my day going. So, yeah, hit me up down below. Any questions, any thoughts about this? Please protect yourself and do whatever you can to protect yourself and your children, ladies. Okay, peace and love.